Let me start recording. I kind of forgot to do that. Yeah, so show of hands. Who thinks this FOMC is just a big bull trap? Who thinks that he wasn't as, what's the word, as dovish as he should have been, or as you think he should have been? That's a lot of hands. That's a lot of hands, man. Hey Franklin, what's up, man? Yeah, so obviously we heard that. I mean, let me get a really good summary going on. I think we could probably find something on Twitter, Financial Juice, instead of me butchering it a little bit. It's basically like everything that he talked about in terms of cuts and all that. It's all like gone to next year, right? And so, you want to come in, say hi? Oh, look at this. Carmen's too shy. She didn't want to come in and say hi, but she got me a drink. She got me a chai latte. Isn't that nice? Oh, this is why I keep her around, right? This is why. No Spindrift. I had one already today. I'll probably get a Spindrift just before we head out to dinner. It's Wednesday, Q&A Wednesdays. I usually go for dinner. No cooking. I mean, I can't cook anyways, but no begging her to cook for me, right? But hey, you know what? Since we have a beverage here, we'll say a quick cheers to the team. For those of you guys that are green, big grats, big congratulations. Right? Cheers, cheers, cheers. For those of you guys that are red, it doesn't matter, right? Take it from me, you only win and you learn. There's no losing in this craft. This craft, man, listen, I had to turn my mental around a little bit too. I wasn't doing too hot. February, right? That month was red. Yesterday wasn't too hot. I think I'm just not used to this kind of volatility. Not used to a Trump tweet being able to move the market so much. But hey, you know what? We live and we learn. There's always going to be another trade. Let me take a sip of this first while it's hot. Oh, it's good. It's sugary. Cheers again. I don't know if you guys can see this on the camera, but this is my cup. How many spindrifts per day is too many? Dude, let me tell you, man. I want to be the kind of guy, or the kind of household. Actually, no, not the household. I want to be the kind of guy that says, like, if I want to drink a goddamn canned sparkling water, it is not for the reason of money that I can't. So, for the reason of money, there's not enough spindrifts that you can have. You can have unlimited. Okay, but if it's for health, then different story. I don't know. I'm pretty sure Spindrift can replace like regular water though. Pretty confident. Pretty confident it can. If it can't, then I don't know, man. I don't think I want to live in this world anymore. But hey, so again, Powell, like a lot of talks on Twitter, seeing a lot of people say like, oh, it's not as dovish as it should be. It's not, him rolling the rate cuts till later doesn't really tell us a lot. So this pump that we're getting, we saw call premium, not call volume, flowing all day today, right? So volume was to the downside, and we just continue to have premium and calls get bought up. Now, I don't know if this is what it's going to take to set the tone for like tomorrow. We know the real move of FOMC is actually tomorrow, right? It's digesting the news. And we know Friday is OPEX, is the actual day of OPEX. Now, we've traded many OPEXs here now, right? So many OPEX. I've lost count here in quant data, but we know there's one truth, is you can only rely on the data so much on OPEX. Reason being, there's a lot of 0DTs. There's a lot of people that have been primed there, positioned there for so long that they need to start rolling their positions, right? Like they could have positions from like months ago, like years ago, many quarters ago. right? And so what we're going to see, and for those of you guys that are new, I actually really like seeing this, you guys are going to see the premiums and the exposures go crazy. They're going to fluctuate like crazy, and it's really good for you guys to see that for the first time, because then you'll see what I mean in terms of, okay, yeah, deltas are like weak. Like deltas can actually just flip-flop red to green at any moment. It doesn't matter. And so I really like to trade momentum and levels, and then just stick to, maybe there's like an outlier kind of move, and gamma does support it, then we'll trade those. But generally size a lot smaller for that specific Friday. So I want to recap a little bit about today. I know there's some questions in the chat already. I'm going to answer them later. If I don't get to them, if I forget, let me know. I will get to them later, because I'm a nice guy generally. But this is how we open today. So I want to show you guys kind of the messy area that we opened in. So this is 6:30. I'm just going to put it right there at 6:30. Now, what do we know that's true about gamma and delta? Specifically delta. Right, specifically delta. We know that this is to be used support and resistance, right? And that's really held true for the time that we've been trading. Right? Get a sip of water here. And the more we see, the more we get used to this, the more we kind of understand like when it's time for us to put on risk, right? So delta being the main engine, right? We talk about delta being the engine of the car. Well, if the engine looks like it's like going to collapse in terms of, it doesn't know whether it wants to go forward or reverse, what do you think the turbo is going to do? It's not really going to help the engine move, right? So this is what we opened in. And it doesn't really clear up, actually, until like way later on. Even at this point. So this is 30 minutes into the market session. Right, so 30 minutes is being like right here. Let me actually open up Trading View. Dear God, I am recording, right? Yes, I am. Always forget. So this is what we have. Ooh, did I mark? I think I took out some of the levels. Did I take out the levels here? Don't tell me I removed everything already. I did remove things already. Alright, that's okay. We're going to redo them real quick. SPX. Why don't I use dark mode? Dude, dark mode's for losers, man. Pretty sure you guys know that already. Really quickly draw some things out for you. I'm actually pretty sure these are pretty... We're going to redo some of these levels for you. I'm going to show you guys how we do levels again one more time. But we're going to do it on SPY, so SPX is a little bit... Gonna give it some time. There you go. So here we are. This is your 7:30. Delta doesn't really clear up until like 7. But even then, we get a little bit of a down move. And we're like, oh, is it coming down? Is it going down? Or is it going up? But nonetheless, like premiums still continue to climb up. We knew that every downward move that we got was a better value to go long again. Because overall the sentiment was upside. So this is 7:30. Right, I'm going to show you what 7:30 on Nirvana looks like as well. Right, what are we seeing? What are we seeing here? This is your 7:30. Right, now if you had to take a bet, if you had to join one side of the army, which side you going? Right? The better value was to go long. Understanding though that we do have FOMC looming. Right, we did have the White House press secretary speaking as well. That didn't bode well either, right? There's a lot of things going on today. Some of you guys ask, like, okay, like we're seeing this data, we're using this data to understand the direction that we want to go in is up, right? Forward. We want to go to the green side. But how do we take this information and how do we enter trades? Right, that's kind of where you put your lines on your chart, your levels, as points of interest for the market. Right now, some people can use indicators, right? If you need an indicator to, crossover or whatever for you to consider a move, like a trade, by all means. I think for myself, like VWAP and like crossing over levels is just about enough for me to have confidence in moves. That and volume, right? So volume being significantly higher than the previous volume bar, then I'll be like, okay, yeah, this looks like we're probably going to have a potential for an upside move. And so if I'm only seeing green, I'm only interested in green volume. So I want to see green volume be picked up and then start to buy it from there. What are your thoughts on orb? I don't trade orb. I know some people do. I think that when you start adding too much, right, it's kind of like, this actually is a pretty good segue. So we talk about, like, in my mentorship, we talk about the bridge builder analogy, right? So we have the guy with the hammer on one end, right? This is my hammer, right? And then we have the guy who is a university taught. Oh my God. Now, whoever wants to pay for my Microsoft Paint lessons, let me know. I'm kidding. It's funny, I actually have a drawing tablet that I don't use. So, based on my criteria anyways, right? So we talk about in terms of a trader, but we're going to talk about this in terms of a bridge builder. Okay, so on this end of the spectrum, you have the university taught bridge builder who knows everything about how to build bridges, right? He's gone to every school, he's read every single book, but he's never built the damn bridge, right? On this side, you have the guy that picks up the hammer. And we're going to call him the worker bee. The worker. Okay, so in this idea, if you're a trader, right, and this is the guy that presses the buy and sell, and this is the guy who has the idea, where do you think you should be in this spectrum? So this is kind of where the data comes in for me. All right, a lot of people say in the middle, right? A lot of people say you should probably be in the middle. You got to know what you're doing, right? You got to be like middle, like lean here maybe, right? I actually think you should be here, and many would agree, and I'll tell you why. Is because you need to have the confidence to press buy and sell, right? You don't want to be like this guy pressing buy and sell all willy-nilly, but you need to have enough confidence for you to press buy and sell. This guy has 10 things in his criteria before he can even make a decision on how to do one action. So when we're trading, we understand that the market we're participating is mental F1, right? Split second decisions, especially on buy side. Sell side not so much, but especially on buy side, if you need to make split second decisions, that's not, like, you can't have 10, 20 things to check off before you make a trade. That will take too long, right? What you need is like really quick references. Like, okay, like this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. Okay, that's 3. Like, let's go for it. You need to have that confidence for you to be able to press buy and sell, and then for you, furthermore, to press where your stop is, right? Where your stop is and where your take profit is. You need to have a plan, but these plans need to come quickly to you. If you have 10 things, it's not going to work out. So all the strategies that I like to look for, right? I just look for reactions on levels, right? Reactions on levels, reactions on volume, where price is likely going to go towards, right? In today's case, it is to the upside, right? We knew that. So I don't ever bother with the short. I know some of you guys were, we're shorting the top of this FOMC. I think you should have made your money going on the long. That's my opinion, right? Because that's where the value is. Like, look, this long was much more fruitful than this short, right? In terms of points. Right. I'm going to get to the levels in the VWAP very shortly. Going to get to it real shortly here. But this is how I do things. And whenever I trade and whenever you guys see me do things, like this is actually what I'm looking for. I say that, okay, never inverse the gamma. That's one. So we know 7:30 today. Going back to it. And we're jumping all over the place. That's okay. It is a Wednesday. So I don't mind. But at some point we started to lose a little bit of strength. Nonetheless, we did see, the calls were still very much in focus all day. Right, so let's see when we started to dip. So let's say like 10:30. We know that you probably should have been done trading around 10:30-ish. But you could still see that we're generally still to the upside. Now we know that there's one thing here that gave us a little bit of worry. It was this 56.60, right? What are the scenarios that we would look for in this, like where we're standing in price, where we're sitting in price, not standing. I don't know why I said that, but where we are in price, we should be thinking that okay, gamma's really strong, 5,700. But we have this pesky 56.60. Once this starts to clear up, because we're in a spot where price should be able to climb up smoothly, right? Because we're in an area of support all the way down to 56.20. This is our area of support. Right? Going up further, what do we see? This really starts to change when we start to get there. Now, I will attest this to probably FOMC craziness, right? Obviously, FOMC right at 11, things started blasting off. But even after, like at 11:30, when Powell actually finally starts to take the stand, we can see that all of these get cleared up. And so this pothole, whoever tried here, has officially lost on their short. Normally, I would say, on a day that's not FOMC, we would have seen this contract. And what we normally like to see when it contracts is when that delta gets bought back, all that premium starts to skyrocket price. Right, so we should have gotten more juice if they decided to buy this back. But you can kind of see today that we really did well. First of all, this is open price. We're all the way over here. This is low of day. We were never going to visit low of day. But we would say that this is still bullish. We had a trifecta all day, generally all day, right? And especially here, like wow, look at 11. Like Vanna was bullish all day too. So this is where all the Vega interest is, and we know Vega during moments of high volatility will pay us. So 5,700, we saw that, right? We actually broke through 5,700. Little bit of significance, right? It being FOMC, right? We did say this is technically, I would actually call this an MVC touch, right? We saw it at 11:55, 11:50, and then wow, we really did touch that just briefly. And then by then, when we started seeing MVCs above us, 57.20s, it was already power hour. You could expect that to not make it. What would have contracted on a normal day? I didn't catch what you said. I said deltas. So this 56.60, who remained short all the way to the end. Like look, at the end he was still short. So this guy probably couldn't have bought it back. We didn't even come close to it. So this guy probably lost a lot of money. But we could see that even throughout the deltas, after power hour, like someone decided to massively short that 5,700. Right, we saw it right here. 18, 25, and bam, so it's being short. So right at 12.25, that's already like right here. So with that being showcasing, we would know that we're probably not going to head anywhere above 5,700, unless that person wants to, buy it back again. But there's no time left on a 0DTE time series. But that was FOMC. So today we could see that the hints were there. I know someone else was pointing this out to me as well. Now I don't know how much weight I put on it, but there was this as well. Because there was also this too, this $400 million order. But they were saying like this one, this is almost $1 billion. Now it happened like just 15 minutes before FOMC. It is quite short dated. So March 21st and June 20th, these are 7,000 contracts of SPX calls, 5,100 in the money, picked up. I'm not really sure if I put that much weight on it. I think we already knew that the market was going to go up. That's also why I bought calls. I mean, unfortunately, I bought them a little bit early, so I only exited with like 30%. But that being said, we already knew that the sentiment was to the upside. Plug this back way in. Right? Was anyone else confused at the data today? Did you guys see it and were like, okay, no, like calls aren't the way? Some of y'all were bearish, I know that. But that's actually like a testament to the power of following data, right? The data pointed up the whole day. It was just up to you to find... It was up to you to find the opportune moment to get long. Hindsight 2020, that looked like perfection, 100%. And that's actually the greatest thing about being able to replay some of the data, right? So replaying some of the data, you can see like where you went wrong. And then I'm going to show you in the next 10 minutes the chart. And I'm going to show you how you could have used levels to kind of tell you where price is likely going to target the next area of interest. Now, I don't use dark pool. I know some of you guys like dark pool. I know some of you guys use like other things like point of control. I use point of control too on ES. But yeah. So here, let me take a look at the chat real quick. What time frame to use on the VWAP? I usually keep my chart on the 1 minute. I mean, VWAP is VWAP though. It's an average price. I don't think the time really helps that much. Let's see here. Full disclosure, I have a bit different chart setups. Contracting normal day. Yeah, data definitely favored calls most of the day. I'm not gonna lie, I made my money on the shorts this afternoon. Hey man, money's money. Money is money. Hindsight 2020, looking for direction. Yeah, we just talked about that. That's why we gotta replay the day, man. You gotta put in those mental reps, right? We're all about working on the machine of the trader that you should be. I found myself harder trusting data during FOMC. If you think data is hard to follow on FOMC, I can't wait for you to see OPEX. I don't know if you experienced OPEX yet, but I'll tell you right now, data is not to be trusted on OPEX. It is absolutely not trusted on OPEX. There was a time during New York lunch where some of the deltas flipped around 56.60. Could you tell us how to understand that situation? Well, having the hamster, delta is delta, right? What we look, when we see that, you just assume, sorry, it's not an assumption. It's a fact that someone now is short there. Right? So we have to understand the purpose of them being short there. And what's the like with our idea of the market so far, with our hypothesis of it being bullish or bearish, we need to use that information to determine whether they are early or if they're actually right or if they're actually going to be wrong. So when we look through it at around New York City lunch, right? So that's 9 a.m. Yeah, someone did all of a sudden become short, 56.60. There were some shorts here too, just rounded, 56.60, 56.65. I also know 56.55 was short. Sometime right here, I believe. Yeah, there you go. And then we started to see a little bit of long deltas contract. But take a look at the rest of the profile. Right? Because we got to use it together. So you use this stuff together. What do we see? We still see the army of red and green still kind of favoring which side in terms of these three buy-side Greeks. Delta starting to look a little bit scary. Gamma still looks pretty hot at 5,700 though. Right, we're still in an area of support. Right, so where we're standing. All we can kind of gauge is, if I'm looking at this, I'm gauging that, okay, we're in an area where we should be long. We're in a delta bullish zone. We're in a gamma bullish zone. This guy might be wrong. I don't believe him. There's also Vega interest there. So you kind of have, again, like on a regular day that's not FOMC, you would have seen this flip. I'm pretty confident that you would have seen the 5660 flip completely green. Whoever was short there remained short. They lost money. But, you know, it is what it is. And the primary gauge still is use it all in conjunction. Like, we're still pretty confident that we're upside. 1015 was like around here, right? Price started to dwindle just a little bit. Did we lose open price? Did we lose low of day? Not yet. Those are your points of interest, right? Yeah, that part scared me off of holding longs. I think the more you start to look at this data, the more you work through it, you'll actually see that, okay, there's things to gauge here. There's more confidence that you could probably get into. Right? Because when I looked at this, I didn't think we were going to be done for the day. I didn't think FOMC was going to be short. Also, during this time, I do want to clarify, like if you saw this, we know that at 10:30 who was speaking? It's the press secretary, right? This should have been like an area to load up for FOMC or, not trade at all. Right. As of right now, obviously, I've been streaming all the White House press conferences because they've been important. There's been some things there that have definitely moved price, right? And we don't want to miss any of that. So we've been putting it on. It's been good though. I don't know if it's going to be the next 4 years that we have to pay attention to the White House. Maybe. But having the hamster, like, follow through with the data, because we know here in quant data that there's two things, right? Now I don't know if I've shown this to you before. Let me indulge you before I go over levels. Let me indulge you, sir. I'm gonna flip this stuff over to tomorrow first. I had a question about Charm. Yeah, I don't use Charm. We don't use Charm for 0 days. Charm is always flipped over to the next OPEX. Reason being, it's Charm exposure is usually better looked at a further out time scale. On 0 days, it actually just looks exactly the same as Vanna because Charm converts over to implied volatility after. So it looks exactly the same as Vanna. The only difference it has is when it's on a further time scale. So I like to zoom it out. It's just that lately I haven't been swinging. Otherwise, I would be swinging positions. So I just don't know yet. I will probably get back to like the prime of ABJ with like the swings as well, just because. Sorry, not just because, but like when the market is more settled. We're waiting for after this OPEX, and we're waiting for April 2nd. I know it's a long time to not swing. Swings are really good money, but yeah, I mean, I don't want to be wrong on a swing right now. I don't really know. So, really quickly here, right? The reason why we are database traders. Okay. Hammy Hamster. I don't know how long you've been here before, or if you're new, but let me know. For those guys that are new, I see a lot of new people here. I'm sure we all know what this is, right? What is this? It's a flag. It's a flag. Why the American flag, man? Like, how come no one puts the flag of China here? Let me help y'all out. #1 country in the world. Good old China. So yeah, this is a flag. Now, if this leg continued all the way here, it would be a bullish flag, right? It's a great idea. What's supposed to happen here? What's the bet when we see this? Right, based on chart patterns. I know you'll know that I'm not a big proponent of chart patterns. I don't use them. You know, but I will say this first though. Like, if you're doing great with this stuff, like by all means keep doing it. Don't listen to me. I know people who trade very differently. I know people who have their, like, whatever works with your brain. I think that's the most important thing. Okay, so this is supposed to be a bullish flag. What's supposed to happen here is we're supposed to get, you know, volume, like big volume here, and this is supposed to go like shooting up, right? So #1, me saying that already should already tell you that if you're waiting for some time in the market for someone to buy a lot of shares or whatever underlying for a price to move up, that should already tell you in the chart, probably the wrong place to look for that. Okay, so I think charts are great to see where price has been. I think charts are great for levels, right? Levels of interest for you to help manage risk. Okay, but that's all it is, right? So this is a great subjective idea right here. Here's the other thing that we know happens with a lot of technical analysts who, I mean, I've met some people who say, like, I'm a chart artist. You know, I'm the master of the charts. You give me any chart, I'll tell you if it's going to go up or down. Okay, well, here's Bob. Here's KGB. And then let's say, looking for a friend here. Let's say Hammy. This is you, okay, Hammy? Hammy, okay. Now I show Bob, KGB, and Hammy, like the same ticker. Right now Bob comes through and he goes, oh yeah, this for sure is a bullish wedge, man. We gonna fly. We gonna go up. Right? KGB says, like, oh no, man, it is a head and shoulders, dude. We gonna go down. For sure. Right? And now Hammy comes through and he draws like a dinosaur. He's like, I don't know what I'm looking at, bro. Just tell me calls or puts, bro. I don't know what I'm doing. Right? This is my little dinosaur. T-Rex. Shooting flames. Who's right? Yeah, you guys can tell I'm getting better, right? I know I've done this class a few times before, but repetition's always good, right? There's only so many new things I can come on all the time, but who's right though, right? And you know, and I come along and I also think, let's say it's a bullish wedge, but my bullish wedge starts from a different area, right? Let's just say, right? Because Bob may have started from like 3 candles before, or like he's using the 5 minute, right? And I'm using the 1 minute. Like it's all. This just kind of tells you that these are all subjective, right? I know people talk about using like Fibonacci's and things like that, but everyone starts it from somewhere else, right? There's no way for you to tell just like who's right based on this, right? It's a toss up. But if I go to the same 3 people and I show them that, let's find a day. I honestly, my days are so blurred now because I've been losing so much goddamn money. No, I'm kidding. That's fine. I think it's 4th. Yeah, like right here. I tell them, like the same three people, that at 9 a.m., right at New York City lunch, we had a big divergence in calls and puts. And calls are, 0DT calls are heavily outpacing puts. What's the conclusion we're all going to come with in the end? We're going to say that it's probably bullish. Like, screw these patterns. You know what I mean? Because this is objective data. This is the truth. This is what's happening. This is no one's opinion. This is actually what is happening. And for myself, as a trader, I found that being data-driven, something that I could trust, like viable information that can't be argued with, was more useful to me than me drawing a bunch of lines everywhere and thinking like, okay, yeah, this seems about right. Because we've seen that before. We've had arguments in this chat, in this Discord about, oh, your chart pattern's wrong, man. I told you we were going to have, a double top, a triple top, you know? So that's my little bit of a spiel. Now I'm going to go back now to what I wanted to go over. We're going to draw levels really quick. Who likes levels? I'm going to show you guys. Ooh, Carmen messaged me. Let me see what she wants. Am I being too loud? There's no way I'm being too loud. Do I follow any chart pattern? No. On the charts, I use levels and I use volume. And the VWAP, that's it. No chart patterns at all. So instead of drawing this here, I am going to go over on the SPY, because we did it on SPY earlier. I actually just want to show you guys how well these levels actually work sometimes. Let me clear these charts real quick. Let me clear some of this stuff. Obviously, I'm using TradingView here just for you guys. I don't actually use TradingView. But let's clear some of this stuff real quick. Alright, so we have blankness. Okay? Now, let me make a notepad real quick. Right, so this is where I like reactions on levels, reaction on volume. But I use that in conjunction with my prediction of where price is going to be. Okay? So, levels. The ABJ levels. Patent this stuff right now. Patent it. Last week, high, low, 50%. Yesterday, high, low, 50%. Very easy. It's actually pretty easy stuff, man. Today's open, close. I'll say first hour because not everyone's West Coast, which again, if you're anywhere but the West Coast, you are a loser. First hour, high, low, VWAP on ES, and testing right now, testing with POCs, but we won't share about the POCs just yet. So VWAP, we know, let's say S&P Capital, everyone's familiar with S&P Capital, right? One of their one of the trades that they push out a lot, that they talk about a lot, is the VWAP continuation, right? So there is some science there, right? We know VWAP is one of the most favorite tools. We know VWAP is one of the dynamic levels of the market. Oh, I work there? That's kind of cool, man. Well, I work at quant data, dude. So I'm going to draw this out for you right now, and you guys are going to see some of the levels that we talked about. And then you guys are going to see where price has been reacting to. So, Monday, We have Monday. It's your Monday, right? So let's draw these verticals first. Excuse me. Ooh, that's not good. So there you go. So we have, and then we have today's 7:30. Last week's high. Last week's low. Last week's 50%, so right about here. We have yesterday's low. Yesterday's high is just about the same. Wow, okay, there we go. Yesterday's 50%. Now we know the open and close is like right about here, so there's no point, right? If it overlaps too much, there's no point. And then we have 7:30 high and the 7:30 low. So this is what we have so far. Now, one more thing. Let me throw on the VWAP there. That's our VWAP. Just the middle line. You can ignore the other ones. Flip it over to the 1. Oh, they're a little bit off. There you go. That's your 7:30. We have yesterday's 50%. That's like right here. So there you go. Now you have all these levels to work with. And I know a lot of people look for like breaks, right? So break of VWAP. Break of all these levels. So realistically, you start trading here, like 7:30. This is kind of where you start. Right now, we go back in time. Oh, I shouldn't have used this one. I should have used this one, actually. The horizontal ray. This is what I normally do. Let me restart this. It will only take me like 2 minutes. So I've already done this before. Mucked it up already. Again, I don't really use TradingView that much. We're going to do the horizontal ray. This is where I actually want to do. So we have this. What's for dinner, by the way, people? Let me know. I'm thinking right now too. What should I eat? What should ABJ eat? There we go. And because we stretch it this way, then you know exactly like where it actually comes from. On my actual brokerage, I actually label things. So 7:30 right there. So we have there. And then we have right there. And we have the 50%, which is just about like right here. There you go. You don't like my chart not colorful enough? Yeah, so now you have all these points of interest, right? So when we saw that, we couldn't make it to the 7:30 low of day, we had a confident breakthrough of VWAP. What does that tell us? And then we have continuation here. This is your 11:30. Where do we stop in price? Like, what are these two levels, right? Monday's high. last week's high as well. It's broken. And then we could even go further. If we were to go higher, you just draw more levels. You see, like, okay, we continue into the furthest week. You can go furthest week. Sorry, the week prior, like 2 weeks ago then. Low, mid 50%, and the high. And now you have all these levels to work with. So how to enter trades. Because I know Gamma and Delta were mainly bullish, I never took the shorts. It was only after price continued to go through these levels to start taking them. And then only after a significant amount of volume. What is this? What are you showing me here, KGB? Whoa. Yeah, no, that's a little bit too much. I like vertical lines. That's all I really need. Vertical lines, and I use quant data to tell me what the direction of price is. And so you're really just waiting for price to flush through or slice through these levels or reject. Now we know if I go back on the 1 minute, we actually saw a lot of times where price did do some stuff around the VWAP. Right, this gets you a lot more action. So again, we're skipping all of that. Where would your next point of entry be from here? Okay, VWAP rejection, right? VWAP continuation. One of SMB's favorite trades. We had it twice. VWAP continuation. Going through this level here. Again, if you're wondering, okay, what is that level? Okay, it's yesterday's high. Let me go through it. 730 high. There's another entry. And then we lose 730 high. Coming all the way through. So when you're directional, you're almost like looking like, okay, so let's say you entered, my calls, let's say like the calls that I had today for FOMC. What would my points of interest be past VWAP? Because I entered at VWAP. I took the 5, 6, 8s. It would actually be like here, right? I do ignore the pre-market. I think there's enough levels for you to work with. When you start adding pre-market in as well, and you start using that as points of interest, I don't really care what the Londoners do with ES and NQ and SPY and QQQ. I'm only interested in the New York session and what New York wants to do. I found that that's a better way to manage risk and manage levels. Because look how much room you have, right? Past VWAP, you have this one. That's a point of interest. You have 730s high. We continue there. These are all levels for you to take care of. To manage your risk, right? Every time you go through a level, you're supposed to set a stop or in the money. Especially on futures, that's kind of what I like to do. And then we just continued on to, okay, now we're really through that. What are the chances of us reaching a 569? Let's take a look at quant. So from 11:40 a.m. 11:40 a.m. How much room did we have? Were we still super bullish at 11:40 a.m.? Yes? Okay, so then we should be holding, right? I go straight in. This is what 11:40 looked like. Right, so we know you're holding these positions already. You're holding these positions already. What should we do? Right, this is your 11:40 right here. A little bit of craziness. Does this tell you that we should be continuing to go up? I would kind of say yeah. And what is our target for price? 5,700? Did we get that today? Yes, we did. By more than 10 points. And so mixing in the data to tell you the direction of price and the target for price, and then using these levels to manage your risk and take entries. That's kind of how I like to do things. And the more you join on the streams, the more you'll see that these are if you draw up these levels exactly how I do them, right? Here you go, right? Last week high low 50%, yesterday's high low 50%, today's open and close, first hour high low, and again we're only removing some things if they're too close. So like I knew that the open and close was just a little bit too close. There's no point in adding that through. Well, actually, no. I guess on the 15 it was a little bit crazy. But yeah, here's your open and close right there. And this was that start of the FOMC, so it doesn't really matter. What does the net drift look like at 1140? So this is your net drift at 1140. I'll show you real quick. Oh, net drift 1140 is right here. Right here. I mean, the gap was already made. Yeah, point of control is something I'm testing right now. Not sure if I want to throw it on yet. It's on futures, so I'll I only like to bring things on when I've fully tested them. But the what I have here so far is how I've been trading for like many years now. This is how I generally do my buy side stuff. These are the levels that I use. That's it. Yeah, let me remove one of these things. Can always bring that back. Huh? What is this? Net volume? No, not vanilla. Oh, you. It's not working. Oh, there you go. The volume's going to be a little bit harder to explain. But generally, I like to see if we are going to... Let's say I want to take a long at one of these areas. I would generally like to see a green candle on volume that is at least I try for like at least 50% higher than the previous. That kind of lets me know that there's some people there. So like this one. Let's say, okay, we're hovering this price, right? We're hovering this line right here. What level is that again? Yesterday's high-ish. So you take the average volume so far that's happened on the day, minus these little rippers, and you can see right here the volume of the next candle actually is significantly more, and then there's like no volume afterwards. This should actually tell you that there's not that many shorts. Earmuffs are a coat and scarf. Must be. I don't have heat on. I don't have the heat on because I'm about to go out for dinner with Carmen. So. But hey, listen, you don't have to do everything the way that I do things. Some people don't actually use volume at all. I've been using it to kind of give me a little bit of extra confidence in the trade. When I start seeing a whole lot of nothing and then all of a sudden big bars, like, okay, yeah, I'm interested in participating. Obviously this one here, like look at this candle. And then we had this big bearish amount of volume. and then nothing happened. So that's not something we'd want to take then. This one you could take. I mean, this one was killer. This was right at FOMC. I'm actually interested like why this one didn't move that much. So this one right here. Oh, actually no, it had a little bit more oomph. But really, you're just waiting for these levels to be met, to be broken, and then you would want to take a trade based on the direction of gamma. That's how I've been doing it. And so I think you guys know that there's been a lot of days. The days that I do really well are the days where I, like today. Today I did really well, and that's because I said I was only looking for longs. I never shorted. I never took a single short because there was no interest in shorts for me. And yeah, hopefully you guys had a good time. Hopefully you guys had a good time too. I just wanted to end it off by looking at the 21st. This is what the 21st looks like so far. It is an absolute mess. But where we're kind of sitting has a little bit of like okay support at 56.50. Oh, so for futures, my first stop is 5 points. My first stop, automatic stop, always is just 5 points. For options, you know, because we have theta decay, we got to battle with that too. I usually like to put a stop like at the next low. So like the next obvious low. Like let's say I took a long here. Let's say I took a long like I mean here. The next obvious low would be like right here. Right. That's what I would do. That's what I normally do. Tomorrow, if you guys want to see it, I will actually pull up the chart for you guys. It just distracts from the entire thing though sometimes. But yeah, I usually like put it on the obvious low. So like if I did take this trade, I think this was actually one of my trades. What was that, like 9 a.m.? 8:30? Yeah, it was around 8:30. Put it like right there. And then I move things through. Max Pain Ticker Tracker, is it day 4? I think we actually met. I'll have to go back in time. But I actually think we met like a couple days ago. Like on the Monday or yesterday. We met it by like a few dollars right at the open. So Max Pain counter is reset. But anyways, this is what we're looking at for Friday. So far, it looks like 56.50 should hold a support. 5,700 is there. I do think Friday, maybe this is like the last week we go up, and then next week we really come down. But 5,700 isn't out of the question. 5,750 is definitely out of the question. If you can look at it right there, that's a lot of shorts. I'm thinking that this is probably... I mean, he wasn't that dovish. I know he said a lot of stuff like neutral stance. Like, why would the market move up on a neutral stance? I don't know. I can't explain that to you. I just know what we saw. And it's going to be up to speculation. I think the whole market's still waiting for after OPEX and then after April 2nd, really. Because that's when the written statements are coming out for his big tariff stuff. So it's all feeling right now, right? I don't know. And that's kind of why I'm not swinging anything. It's a tough first quarter. But it is 6:05. Actually, Carmen's waiting for me for dinner. So I'm going to stop this recording right here. Really appreciate y'all hanging out.